Choosing your long-term romantic partner is one of the most important decisions you are making in your entire life. So obviously you want to make sure to make that decision thoughtfully and wisely. On the internet, there's a lot of advice, there's a lot of talk about red flags and what a woman cannot be and what she should not be, and green flags, of course, and it can be a little bit confusing. If we, obey to all the rules that are out there, we'll end up alone. So in this video, I want to talk about what is actually important, and I want to see it from the positive side. So here are the 7 green flags a woman should have if you want to turn her into your long-term partner. Now, before we dive in, a quick disclaimer. This video is for straight men who are looking for a long-term partner. I don't have judgment against hookup culture. I don't have judgment even against women with a high body count. And I don't have judgment against all the different forms of relationships there's out there. Open relationship, cucking relationships, multiple partners doing whatever relationships. I don't judge people, but I know what I want for myself, and I strive to be a strong masculine man in my masculine role, which means I will search for a woman who is quite feminine and in her feminine role. So if you resonate with that and want a similar type of relationship, this video is for you. Green flag number 1 is she is loyal. You want a woman who is committed to you, and mainly you want a woman who you can trust. Trust is the absolute foundation of every form of relationship, and especially with your best friends, with your family, and with your long-term romantic partner. The point of a relationship is that you together are greater than the sum of its parts, that you make each other better as humans, right? That your relationship fulfills you and you help each other in ways that you could not help yourself. Now, if you don't have trust, all of this breaks apart. If you have to constantly question what she's up to, where she might be, hanging out, who she's hanging out with, what is she doing? Is she maybe betraying you? Is she maybe cheating on you? This will fuck you up. This will completely destroy your mental clarity. If you get into certain habits of, questioning her and then therefore questioning yourself, and maybe you have certain urge to check in with her, check her location, check her phone, check the text messages, logging into her social media, this is not the way. And if you obviously find something out there, it's over anyway, but it shouldn't even come to that point. You should be able to trust the woman you're with. You're a man after all, and you have a purpose, you have a mission, you have higher level goals. And to achieve these goals, you need absolute focus, undivided focus. And if your focus goes into checking in on your woman because you're not sure what she's up to, and she, might be disloyal, you don't have the energy that is required to reach your higher level goals. Number 2, she has very few past relationships. Now, a lot of people won't like that. They might label that as an outdated social idea, and we should be open, right, to everybody, and everybody has their past, and no matter how many broken and failed relationships anybody has, you should give them a chance and they can better themselves. Sure, right? I'm on board with that. But if you had the choice, you would want to choose somebody who didn't go through failed relationship after failed relationship, traumatic experience after traumatic experience, right? And even just statistically speaking, a person who went through many relationships that were very short-lived, the chance is higher that the relationship you have with that person is short-lived as well. Just statistically speaking, right? Like, you can't really argue against the math. Sure, we all have relationships in our life, and relationships end. It doesn't mean they failed. People make experiences. People come together, they learn about each other, they have a certain vision about themselves and how the relationship will be. And then often that vision doesn't sustain into the long term, right? Like, people change over time. If you date somebody for 2 or 3 years, people change into different directions and it might end. So it's not like a red flag if she had 1 or 2 or even 3 boyfriends. But if she comes with a lot of baggage and maybe you have a bit of an insight into how her past relationships ended, and it kind of sounds like, he wasn't the only bad kind of partner in this relationship, you want to be very aware. So how do you know about that? I would suggest, before you really commit to somebody, really find out how did it go in her past relationships? Why did it end? How long did it last? What was the reason it ended? And how many times did that happen? Number 3, she's passionate. Now here I'm making a distinction between she's passionate about something and she has a job or she even is financially independent. Of course, these days the notion is, man and women should be more and more equal. They should earn, they should both contribute to the household budget. And that's not a bad idea, I'm not against that. But it comes with, every light has a shadow. So sure, it is a red flag, if a woman never had a job, she never had to be responsible with her own money, she always got everything from her parents or from her boyfriend or from her husband, she never needed to deal with that level of responsibility when it comes to financial stuff. Yeah, not good. But I would argue it is not crucially important, it's nice, but not crucially important in a relationship that the woman is financially independent by herself. If you're a masculine man and you strive to be successful, and by success there's many metrics, but let's also say financially successful, you're striving to make more than enough for the whole family. If she wants to have a side job, that's good. And if she's passionate about it, then that's the key. I don't really want my woman to needing to work in something that she hates, that drags her down, that makes her angry, that makes her come home exhausted. I will be exhausted because I exhaust myself in work. I'm passionate about my work, but I will be exhausted. I work till I can't no more. And then it is very beautiful and wholesome to come home to somebody who is refreshed, who can give you energy and not who you have to give even more energy because they're drained of their job. Does that mean she shouldn't do anything? Of course not. So number 3 is she should be passionate. She should be passionate about something. This can be a job. She can make some money, but it's not necessary. Maybe she's into art. Maybe she's into science. Maybe she's studying just for the purpose of studying. Maybe she's really into helping others or helping her community or helping her family. That is very beautiful, and you want to have these attributes in a woman. One woman told me once she always looks for men who are very passionate, and asked her why. And she said, well, if the man is passionate about something, then it also means he has that fire in himself to be passionate about me. And I think the same is true for women. You want somebody who is genuinely curious about life, who wakes up with some purpose, who is excited to better themselves in some way. This is important and will be more and more important in the long term. There's a lot of beautiful girls out there who are, fun, cute, but they lack that little spice. And it's tempting to go into a relationship with a girl just for status, just for showing off. It's called a trophy wife, right? But you don't want to date a house pet, because you need somebody who is at least somewhat as passionate as you. Number 4, therefore, is she makes your life easier. Now, if we continue the notion of you being the man of the house and you are, maturely providing in a long-term relationship, right? I'm not saying be a simp and throw your money at random girls. I'm saying in a long-term relationship, you want to be the man who makes most of the money and who provides. So, therefore, you make her life easier in that way. I mean, she doesn't need to struggle for the job market. She doesn't need to, constantly deal with a boss and colleagues. So you definitely make her life easier on that metric. It's not the only one, but you do. So she should make your life easier. She should provide you with comfort, emotional support. And you can see that early on in a relationship. If a girl comes over and she instantly starts maybe, cooking for yourself or brings a little gift or notices that you have a little bit of a cough and she goes to the pharmacy or she just simply makes you a tea, that's really good. You see green flags. She's supporting you. She's caring about you. Also, longer term, maybe she takes care of other things that you don't want to do or that are kind of like a waste of your time, or, maybe you, as simple as you want to get a coffee machine and she does a little bit of research and compares different models, and it's just forthcoming, asks you, hey, how can I help you make you better, babe? And of course, as it goes, she's an equal, it's a fair exchange. You have to make her life easier as well. Of course, that's the beauty of a relationship. Even in tribes, it's even better. One person is kind of caring about the children, the other person is like working on the farm, the other people are hunting, they're doing this, they're doing that. And that's really how a big economy works. You couldn't build your own phone, you couldn't construct your own camera, you couldn't build roads yourself. That's the beauty of a big state, that a big society. And a little version of that should be in your relationship. You want to be able to outsource certain responsibilities onto her as much as he does to you. And again, that creates the beautiful combination of you being better together than you being single. Green flag number 5 is she speaks well about others. Why is that important? I think it's very important that a woman or a person in general values romance, values connection, values love as an idea, values relationship, values family. The best way to check if she actually does or is just pretending to is to listen. How does she talk about her friends? How does she talk about her family, her even like further family? How does she talk about people she just met? How does she talk about her boss? Sure, we all have issues with our boss here and there. How does she like separate the professional version of him and the human version of him or her? And then mainly, how does she talk about her ex-boyfriend, her ex-lover? Basically, how does she talk about somebody who she used to love, but now they broke up? That's a great insight into a person's personality, how they see the world. If they see themselves as a victim all the time, or they can be somewhat rational and see the beauty in people even when they maybe have a negative story with them or a broken relationship with them. Can they still separate the bad from the good and kind of zoom out? This is really crucial because it's going to be important in the relationship that she has the right values, and valuing relationships and valuing people as a whole and valuing kind of like the beauty of humans, even though we're all fucked up here and there and we have our negative things and we got our own shit, but still seeing like, overall people are good. That is really important in a relationship. An interesting hack is check somebody's Instagram explore feed. You can talk about what you value all day long and you can present yourself as this great human who is into this and not into that. But the algorithm of social media platforms these days knows us better often than we know ourselves or that we want to admit. So it is an interesting experiment to go onto somebody's Instagram, check the explore feed and see what is the algorithm suggesting, because the thing that the algorithm is suggesting is the thing that is important to people, that they react to, that they spend a few seconds extra on, that they share more, that they bookmark more, that they like more, that they're simply consuming more. So that is an interesting insight. Number 6, she knows when to submit. Now, of course, as I said, you don't want to have a pet as a romantic long-term partner. You need somebody who you see as your equal. You need to respect your woman. You need to value her. You want to learn from her. You want to be open to get constructive criticism from her. That's super important, right? You both are equals. It's not like masculine man and a feminine woman means there is a certain power dynamic or you see her as less of a human. A good partner will give you constructive feedback. She knows when to push back a little bit and call you out on your bullshit. That's really, really important. Otherwise, you're living in a bubble. You're living in a delusion. But a good woman knows when to do that and when to submit, when to shut up, be quiet, when to give you space, maybe not follow her feminine impulse all the time. Sure, women are more emotional, the feminine essence is more emotional, but it is important that you can, again, trust your woman to not embarrass you, to have the bigger mission in mind. So that could mean sometimes she might need to let you do your thing, trust you, support you, even though she thinks your idea is maybe not great, but she knows you need that support right now more than the constructive feedback, than the exact logic that she has in that moment. And obviously the biggest red flag with all of that combined is if she starts criticizing you in public, or even worse, criticizing you in front of your friends, your colleagues, your boss, your clients. Huge red flag and almost unforgivable. So you want to have a woman who knows her place. She knows when to speak up and when to be quiet. And number 7, she should be fun, right? All of this is very serious talk. Sure, we want to have a woman who's good on all these metrics and da-da-da-da-da, and body count and relationships and serious and passionate, da-da-da, but come on. At the end of the day, life is life. Life is a bit of a game. We're all gonna die, and we want to have fun along the way. I think that is the most important point. You, after all, choosing a partner that you're gonna be with your whole life. It's gonna be the person that you wake up to and go to bed to most days, more than anybody else. So you want to enjoy it. You want to be having fun. You want to be able to not take life too serious with her. If you want to be serious, watch a serious movie. If you want to be serious, do business with your guys, right? If you want to be serious, have serious political discussions with people who are really into that and really get like super intellectual about stuff. For me, it is important that I can have fun, that I can laugh. Because life will hit you with shit, no matter what. No matter how rich you are, no matter how good looking you are, life will hit you in the face. And you will sit in the mud. And at the end of the day, all we really want is a friend who can sit in the mud with us.